This is a very interesting one to me, as the spiritual cleansing has always been fascinating to me. When you drive past specific areas on the streets and you see that they're high accident zones, sometimes people come and put crosses next to that intersection or at the place where the accident happened. And there are a few, man. There's one on the way to Greenside that I always see. There's one if you're driving past Holy Rosary, it's on the left before you get to whatever that new insurance building is. I see them all the time, and I just wonder, who came through, what did they do? And we've had a conversation about that here on Power 98.7 several times, actually, about the spirit and taking the spirit home. After a accident on the road, or anywhere else. But this one's a little bit different. It's our property feature, so of course we're going to talk about these spiritual cleansings in our new homes. Is it superstition? Is it self-care? The rise of spiritual cleansing before buying a new home or moving into it, when it's in a time where more and more South Africans are entering the property market as a first time or first generation buyer. We're seeing many people calling in spiritual practitioners and traditional healers or even church elders to cleanse or prepare their new homes before moving in. I remember my own first home, and the priest came through from the Presbyterian Church, and then my grandmother and grandfather telling me about their priest coming through, and then there was one of those, those old things that they put in the kitchen. Bless this home. Make it warm. The food in the kitchen to nourish us all. Like a prayer for our home. Yeah, we had that in all our homes. And it's because of this exact practice that the pastor or the leader of the church would come through and bless our homes. So let's talk a little bit about it with cultural expert, Professor Musa Xulu. Thank you very much for joining us again.
Thank you, Pabi. Good day to yourself and to your listeners.
I mean, what an interesting conversation to have. I'm talking about people who had their own homes, yes, in Soweto, but it was a house that was their house. Now we're in a generation where everybody lives in a townhouse. So can we do certain of the same things when we get into new homes, even though they may be attached to other people's homes?
Well, let me start by saying this is a religious system where especially African people, but also Christians, believe that the spirits are all over, and some of the spirits do not have good intentions. Now, if you're a Christian, you believe that through prayer and praise and worship, the bad spirits will become afraid and move away. And there's a common belief, Christianly speaking, that most of these evil spirits fear the name of Jesus Christ. On the other hand, in African belief system, in the olden days, when people were living in rural areas, if we are moving house from, for example, one district to another, when you leave, you take your things, you would have some traditional home beer to report to the ancestors that you are now living here. You're not going to be here anymore. And when you get into the new place where you are now going to be resident with your family, you do the same. You report that you are now here and that they should look after yourselves and that any evil spirits in the area should not be allowed to come anywhere near yourselves. Now, that would have been your own house. But sometimes when it comes to townhouses, of course, it's not your house. The fact of the matter is that you are there and you want to be protected from the spirits that are moving around. The spirits are like this, Pabi. You see, when you sit in front of a television station, a television, and you don't have the remote, you won't see the pictures. And the radio, until you turn it on, you won't get any kind of sound from the radio.
Yeah.
So it is believed that spirits get activated one way or the other. Sometimes they just look at you and they become angry, or they were angry at your ancestors, or in the new house or where you are moving. There were spirits because usually, especially when they buy a house that was owned by other people before, they may have left their spirits there, and those unkind spirits then make your life difficult unless there's some kind of intercession. If you are an Afghanist, that becomes, through maybe impact or incense, or maybe having some traditional beers. If you are a Christian, as you said, then your pastor will come in handy to bless the house. There is even a song on the which was composed in England. Bless the house, bless this house, O Lord, we say.
Yes.
Yes. So it looks like a universal kind of belief system that you can't just walk in. You have to have some intervention. It goes to the extent that some people or some cultures or some races, they plant certain plants
Yes.
in the garden, and those plants are believed to be close to chasing away the spirits or bringing in good luck into the house. So it's a widespread. That's why I'm unable to say it's an African thing. I think it's human nature to believe that there are good spirits and there are bad spirits, and they follow us everywhere. And from time to time, some kind of intercession has to happen.
Okay, so intercession I understand, which would just be perhaps the planting of the plant or the prayer or the mpepo through the home. How do you know if you have to have an intervention? If you have to have, something that's bigger than just the very gentle, okay, dumelang koko rakena.
Well, as I said, it's a belief system. Sometimes people become proactive, preventive. So to just say, we're moving on Saturday into this new townhouse or new house, and therefore on Friday we need really to be proactive. We don't wait until there's some calamity. But sometimes, and you see lots of pastors here on TV now who are able to pray and to perform miracles and so on and so on.
Through the TV?
Pardon?
Through the TV?
No. I'm saying you watch them. Sometimes they're on radio and they claim that they perform miracles.
Okay.
So sometimes you will find that when you go to sleep, there are things that just oppress you or suppress you. And sometimes you have nightmares, and maybe all of you wake up with strange dreams. So a pastor, maybe who performs miracles, or if you're a traditionalist, a traditional healer, will come in and perform some miracles of some sorts, some healing, to drive away those spirits that are suppressing you in your sleep. So it's a generally done something.
Yeah.
And even if it's not a new kind of property, even in your own home where you grew up, from time to time you will find that the elder people will invite someone with some higher powers, spiritual powers, to come and just have a chat, or if you're church people, from time to time, Bomama, Bomtandazo will come to your house, just to pray. The aim is always, whatever religious system is to keep us free of the evil spirits which are lingering around all the time.
So tell me this, in your experience, in your view, are we seeing a rise in younger people who are moving into these townhouses performing either African spiritual or religious rituals?
Yeah, no, we are. What has happened is that especially young people who are having some kind of work, they tend to immediately move away from townships. and then get into these townhouses. But there has been a rise in cultural beliefs as well as in, let me say, Pentecostal Christian kind of approaches,
Right.
which looks at these things from a spiritual point of view, that you cannot just move in. Once a house is there, there are, or a townhouse is there, there are spirits that move in and out. And before you move in, or not before long, you have to
Yeah.
find a way of driving them away. So the Pentecostals are very good with that. Well, the charismatics, they like crowds, but the Pentecostals are also very good with, and the evangelists,
Yes.
evangelicals,
Yes.
they are very good with these intercessions in terms of when you look at it from a Christian point of view.
That's very, very interesting. Cultural expert Professor Musa Xulu, the rise of spiritual cleansing before buying a home or before entering into that home. Give us your story on 0861987000. Perhaps you didn't do anything as you moved into your new townhouse and everything was okay until you had those really heavy dreams that Professor Xulu talks about, or things are falling out of cupboards in the middle of the night and you just think, I have to figure what this is and we have to fix it now. Give us your stories on 0861987000, or you can send us a voice note on 0833037093. And please note that I'm not normalizing African culture. I'm not normalizing religion. I'm not. It's all the same here on this show. It's about rather the idea of the spiritual cleansing and, of course, all of the different ways that it comes about. Professor, you were talking a little bit before about people migrating to, Fourways and Midrand and whatever, away from the township. Why is that so important to note?
Well, there could be many things. I mean, we all know that townships can be rough sometimes, especially for young people, women especially.
Do you mean violence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. People move. We all, at some stage, we all grew up in townships in Durban or wherever, Mamelodi. But you get a feeling at some stage that maybe for safety reasons, you need to go and start this new life. In the olden days, when we were young and before we were born, there were ghosts and spooks, and they easily showed up in houses whose owners had left, or and so on. If somebody died there, because you don't know whether any person died there, or so you don't know the spirits. The moving away from the townships by the young professionals is basically an issue that has got to do on the main with safety. And secondly, is an issue that's got to say, as you become independent, you would like to move out of your parents' house. So at some stage, you'll find that some townships are full of old people, or there are many young people, but those are not professional ones, and therefore they cannot afford to go to Fourways or to go to Midrand or Waterfall and all those fancy areas.
Sure. Oh, that's it. So then they remain behind.
Well, it's an affordability thing.
Sorry, I'm just trying to merge what you're saying to the topic that we're talking about.
Yes, no. There is another angle, of course, which maybe we can raise, which is issues around witchcraft. There's a general belief that in townships and rural areas, there's more witchcraft than you'll find in the suburban areas. And You know, when I taught at university, the students would report that since now they are attending university, the neighbors are suddenly very unhappy with them, and sometimes even when they submit assignments and they don't pass, they blame it on some kind of witchcraft.
I
So
got you.
that is
I got
spiritual,
you.
yeah.
I got you completely.
So when you can afford, you immediately move away because you can afford to pay the monthly rental or for the bond to escape those spiritualities.
Very, very interesting. 0861987000. Pastor Philip. Hello.
Good afternoon, Pabi Moloi.
Kidding. Wena.
Well, ma'am. Thank you. This is very interesting issue. I love it. I love this Power FM, right? Yeah, but I find it very difficult, Pabi.
Yeah.
You tell me now. You know, sorry, I'm also a sinful man. I'm not saying I'm a good person, but I'm a sinful man.
Okay.
When God created the universe, and the earth and everything on it, Modimo Kilifuko, La Tola di Lototo Kese or di Meting, di Batubanating, Batubana, Batakomela Malawa Modimo. Sorry, I'll cut it in short. Batubatakomela Malawa Modimo, Batebapi. Genesis chapter 3, Rebona Satan, Atenakamo me efa, I'm confused already. Na se karese Maria, Timu, Kini to the Skesa Jua, Eva, Nkukuaruna, Hutiarka Seja. We will die. Genesis chapter 3. Our people are getting confused, man. Kihona mo batuwasimula bashwa. Now, uka muruti fela me Pabi abuare modimo umute. When you go through Ecclesiastes, sorry, I'll make it short and right.
No. As long as you get to a point, that's fine. You can carry on.
Yeah, my argument is people, they still can talk to the dead, but the holy, the power, the law, the creator, it says, let me read this one. I don't read, I'll just comment with that. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5. I wish people could read that one. Ecclesiastes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm ready. Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 5. It says, because believing, they know that one day they will die, they will perish from this world. But the dead know nothing. Man, leharika simulaka kansa kalesaba hulu hulu. Jehovah Ari, kama kwalo King Solomon. The dead know nothing. They cannot talk. They cannot do anything. They depart from this world.
Okay, so let me see if I can make it short and sweet for you. Are you saying many people maphelo a bona a fokola because of the belief in ancestral worship, in talking to our ancestors, in huchisampepo? You're saying that's the issue?
Me Pabi ke thoka motho tshwana le wena o khona go tsena mo khang ga se fela o bereka mo radio. Thank you to cut me short and ho thusa ya. You know what? I love you because when you speak, you're so soft. You remind me muna bereka mo radio 702. Sorry to make it short, but I can non buota.
Okay.
I love you so much, but people, they must wake up. In Malachi chapter 4, I'm finished now. I'm getting to finish now. You get me? Yeah. Malachi chapter 4, it says, the judgment is judgment. Yeah. People are very confused. But to rapiwa, but to work GVS, but banna bahatella, basadi bahatella, banna huhabulayana, Jehovah, tile mem Pabi Moloi. Jehovah. But to never poor anyway, one language. But similar it's a tower. About one heaven. Jehovah, he scattered them all over the world, different languages. But who built this tower. Now people today, they are very confused. They believe in sangomas. They believe in ancestors. Sorry.
You're making your point exactly the same again. And I love that at the end you say you judge nobody. It sounds very judgmental, I won't lie. But according to yourself, Professor Musa, what's being said there? I mean, in some spheres of society, that is the absolute held belief. You best not bring that in purple anywhere near me because my Jesus overrules all things. And in a continent like ours, it's quite a challenge to balance or to strike one out completely.
Yeah, well, in my other life, I'm a pastor. So when he speaks about Adam and Eve, well, what is commonly known is that sin and all the evil that came with it came through Adam. Then Christ comes in later to take the sins away from people so that whoever believes in him shall have an everlasting life. That life, that everlasting life which is brought by Christ is the life on earth and the life after death. There is life after death. What it does, of course, the common belief is that it focuses on praising the Lord if you are in heaven.
On praising the Lord, no? That's what you're there to do for all time.
Forever and ever. We are here on earth to prepare for the everlasting life where our responsibility will be to just join that choir in heaven.
Hey.
But that's one type of belief system. It's called Christianity. In Africa, what happens, Pabi, is usually the cultural things, they creep into even our churches. And then you find that we become practitioners of what is called eclectic religious system, which takes from Christianity but does not take away from, but also takes from our cultural belief systems. Now, if you look at even some mainline churches, for example, the big one, Roman Catholic, they're very serious about Mary, the mother of Jesus, and they pray to her, and there are days where you I think it's in November where you come to church to pray for your dead people, and not to worship them, they say, but to keep them in your memory.
Right.
So it's a belief system, and belief and science they don't really mix a lot, because the one needs logic, belief needs your heart.
So then what we're talking about in terms of moving into your own home is not scientific. This is belief. This is what we feel. This is what we believe. This is what we've read from the holy books. This is what we've understood from sitting at the feet of our grandfathers. And so therefore we go ahead and do it. I wonder though, the history then of dispossession and displacement of South Africans plays in the emotional connection that we have to these spaces that we have, which are our homes, yes, but they're not the land of Africa. They are the 50 square meters of our flat.
Yes, but the spirits have a way of concentrating themselves irrespective of the size of the property, or even in a one bedroom flat, which most young people sometimes enjoy. The spirits will attack you. They can attack you in your car. They can attack you anywhere. They don't need, because the spirit is air, and more or less, but it's living. You can't see it, but you know it is there. And therefore, and the entirety of belief systems religious systems, whether it's Christianity or African, or
yes.
there is this spirituality that says we are not alone here on earth. There are many of these aliens that are moving, but because they are spiritual, you can't see them. But sometimes you can hear them, and that's why in Christianity, when you go to ministry school or university, they also teach you about discernment.
Yes.
So you're able to discern the spirits, because they will come from time to time. You must know that this one comes
Who's
from God.
who?
No, this one comes from the devil. But they are there. They attack churches, and sometimes even Holy Spirit leaves the church when there's too much of that among the congregants.
Well, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much, Professor Musa Xulu, our cultural expert, talking about cleansing before getting into a new home. And I love that we had it as a conversation that, yes, had very much African spiritualism and our belief systems in it, but also understanding that in South Africa there are many who believe strictly and alone in the God of the church and basically nothing else. Thank you very much, Prof.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pabi. Thank you.
Oh, what a pleasure. We'll speak again soon. It is 2:00. The conversation for Money Monday is: you are too broke to breathe, and yet you are too well off to complain.